welcome back to GD's Science Bites. While the longish videos with academic intensive information will continue, I thought I would also get some shorter videos out as research snippets. There's a lot going on in the field of food technology, food processing, food engineering, food science, of course. So I think it's the right platform for all the students to also get to know what the science behind, what the research behind food technology, food processing are all about, because as the punchline of my YouTube channel says, that learn, ideate and succeed. So my first research snippet is dedicated to taste or sensory science. Now, the first research I'm bringing out is from the Jean Mayer USDA Human Nutrition Research Center and Aging at Tufts University. The group has done a very interesting study and has reported a very interesting study on taste perception. Now, we all know that there are 5 types of tastes. We have the sweet, the sour, the salt, the bitter, and the umami or the savory taste. All of us can taste the 5 of them, but the degree of taste or the degree of the perception of these 5 tastes are not same in all the humans. Why? Yes, you guessed it right. The reason is genetic basis. So apparently our own gene can decide and does decide what is the taste which I am going to perceive more, or what is the polygenic score for each taste. Depending on my gene makeup, I may have a polygenic score which is higher for bitter, maybe higher for salt or for sugar, so on and so forth. So you may ask that what does it all matter? If we do have a perception for sweet more than maybe the other 4, or if we do have a higher perception of bitter, then so what? The so what is that depending on your perception of taste, you're also making a very important decision almost on a daily basis, and that decision is on the food choice. And the dietary choice and the dietary consumption is directly related to health disorders or healthiness, right? So we are aware of many diet-related chronic diseases, starting from diabetes to cardiovascular to all the way cancer. So it is, I think, very, very important that we take care of the diet right from the beginning. And the taste and the perception of taste, and this research is dedicated towards that kind of knowledgeable nutrition preference, a little more guided nutrition preference. Now let me just put in a little more information on this. The research group had got the volunteers, and they found that those volunteers who had a little higher polygenic score for, let's say, bitter taste, what was the consumer or what was the preference for those kind of people? They happened to take a much lower serving size of whole grains as compared to the normal ones. You get the point? Similarly, those who had a slightly higher polygenic score for sweet, or for that matter, those who had a higher perception of sweet taste, they had lower triglycerides. Those who had a polygenic score which was higher in case of umami, which is a savory taste, or those who could perceive savory taste more or much better than the bitter, sour, sweet, etc., those people tend to have a preference, lesser preference for vegetables, especially the red and the orange vegetables. So you get the point? So therefore, depending on what we are able to perceive, it is either helping us or not helping us, either way you take it. So it is sort of deciding what is the actual dietary intervention, or what is the actual diet that you are planning to have, or what is the diet that you are actually maintaining. Depending on the gene, depending on your gene makeup, you have the perception. Depending on the perception, you are having the diet. In fact, a very interesting field has come up which is called as nutrigenomics and nutrigenetics. Sometime maybe I would also be sharing some of the research snippets from there. But for the time being, this is the research which is going to be coming online, which is going to be trending online on Nutrition 2022, which is live online. This is a flagship program of annual meeting of the American Society for Nutrition. Right? So the group here says, vouches in fact, that with more research and once we are able to fingerprint, then with this kind of a research, it will help. The taste perception will help, and that can also help in a guidance, to give guidance to those who are, like I said, if they perceive bitter more, they tend to have lesser, they don't even know why they're making that choice. You see? So if we have a little bit of guidance, we could say that, look, your genetic makeup makes you go for lesser whole grain. So why don't you top your diet with a healthier diet with more whole grains? Or similarly, those who have umami perception, for them there is a push, there is a knowledgeable push, there is a guided push, there is a scientific evidence-based push towards a more healthy diet, where they would probably be consuming those vegetables which they tend to knock off from their dinner, lunch or breakfast plates. I hope that was clear. Now, thinking the next snippet, the next research snippet. Now this is more classical, ancient almost. We have seen that many of us, I think some of you are chefs, some of my audience over here, they are also chefs, and they probably know this even better than a normal person like me, that salt, the addition of that pinch of salt, it takes a completely new meaning now. That pinch of salt can actually change the taste. Okay, so just a pinch of salt can make a bitter taste much better. Better. Don't get confused. So people have tested on some really yucky and bitter tasting compounds. For example, quinine. For example, caffeine. For example, denatonium benzoate. So these are compounds which are extremely bitter. When you are unable to taste these, or when you are when you do not want to taste these, what you could do is, when you want to reduce the perception of bitterness, you could actually add a pinch of salt. And you may also be interested to know that that small pinch of salt, while you're tasting salt, the small pinch of salt, how it is added, with what it is mixed, it can actually help you perceive not just the salty taste, but it could also not just decrease the bitter taste, but also can help you perceive a slightly sweeter taste, a slightly soury taste. So in effect, what the research has shown so far is that salt, that pinch of salt, can actually make a huge change over the taste that you are actually able to feel. Now, why is it? You'll be surprised to know the answer. The answer is, nobody really knows exactly why it is. So what do we know? Do we know anything at all? Yes, we know a little bit. That little bit is that when you are placing the salt on your tongue, the tongue receptor is going to taste the salt, and that tongue receptor also sends a signal to your brain. So the tasting is a binary, a double fold thing. This happens for of course salt and sugar, but the neuroscience as well as the tongue receptor, they both get in action. And when we compare salt and when we compare sugar, the salt and the signal which is gone to the or the brain, the part of the brain that is responsible for the taste of salt, gets the signal within millisecond. Whereas in case of sugar, the taste signal goes to the brain. It takes far more, there is a delay actually, it takes far longer than what it would take in case of the salt. But yes, nobody knows yet why the salt tastes salt, and why is it that when you mix salt with something bitter, why is it that it tastes less bitter? Yes, there is a play of sensory science, there is a play of tongue receptors, there is also a huge play of neuroscience there. So, budding scientists out there, already established scientists out there, please take these snippets and learn, ideate, and please give us a successful answer, a more believable answer, a more satisfying answer to why salt can change drastically the way you taste your food. For those of you who are non-believers like me, who always need research articles, proofs of research articles, and other details, I'm going to put the two research articles and the website of these research articles, the URLs would be in the description. So I urge you to please read those and like I said, make use of the information and maybe learn more, and definitely PLSSC, please like, share, subscribe, and definitely comment on this research snippet and let me know what and how you liked about this video. Thank you and good night.